bigger stage up here. What do you guys think? I want to thank you guys again so much for coming to our inaugural launch. We have been launching these Sunday assemblies all across the world literally today, and my understanding is that because of the way the time zones work and the international date line and all that, that this is the very last one that's launching, at least today. But if you saw in our press release and been keeping up with the whole Sunday assembly thing, there's something like 30 already internationally. We're doubling that today, and there's all kinds more that are launching. Yes, and we already have people contacting us from Elk Grove, from Stanislaus County, from the foothills, asking, can we get another one going too? And my answer is yes, we will. I'm not saying I'm going to help you, because I've done that already, but the help exists. Couple things. If you have a cell phone, go ahead and hit silent on that. If there is some kind of emergency, the exits are pretty obvious, and those of you who did bring kids, don't forget them. They're over there. You know, at Sunday Assembly, our motto here is celebrate life. I think you guys all came together because for whatever reason, you're social, you want to be a part of something, maybe you were missing something, and here today and every fourth Sunday is our opportunity to do exactly that, to celebrate life. And whatever your beliefs are, whatever your ethnicity, your gender, any of that stuff, it doesn't matter. As soon as you walk into these doors, we're all human beings. We're all in this together. That's really what this is about. We're just going to have a good time today. We're going to listen to some really great inspirational talks. We're going to have some awesome music. There's still 2 more songs coming for that. And then after that, if you guys want to hang around for the potluck or just talk, you don't have to eat, then you're welcome to do that as well. We've got some announcements later on, but let's, before we really get into this, there are so many people who have come together to make this happen today, whether it be childcare or the coffee and donut table, setting up all the chairs, the band itself, all the marketing and everything else. So one more time, a giant round of applause for everything. And I want to give special recognition to the folks, some of whom who are here today, for letting us use this facility. This is the Reason Center.
Is that prophetic there?
This is the Reason Center, and yeah, it's a little cramped, but that says that we're doing the right thing by launching a Sunday Assembly here in Sacramento. And I hope you can keep doing this here. If we have to knock down that wall, maybe that's what we do. If we move to another place here on tribute, great. But let's recognize the 10 people or at least, and all the donors and everything else that have made the Reason Center possible, so we have a place to be today. Let's give them a round of applause. All right, we try to integrate all kinds of things into Sunday Assembly, and now I want to bring up to the stage Hannah, who's got a little bit of a reading assignment for us, or role for her. So here is your microphone.
God as a dolphin. An idea dreamed in minds of men who thought it. Said it looks like me, but I say it looks like a hen. Debating what no man can see, dolphins are better hosts. To be home to some foreign mind, in fact, it's startling to most what research has come to find. So let's take the men down from their pedestal. We aren't the only intelligent life, no just on Earth, but also celestial. Just one belief that brings us strength.
I did mention this is our first run of this, right? You guys are all saying we're going to do the exact same thing again after the potluck. Get all the kinks worked out. One of the traditions that we have at Sunday Assembly each time is to bring up a speaker who can talk to us about their life where they have overcome obstacles. I think we all have obstacles that we overcome, and we want to celebrate that because it's tough. Life is not easy. Am I right? And things come up, and sometimes we need to rely on the help of others to get through that. And that's really what doing their best is about. And so I want to introduce Tom Michaelman. Tom, I asked him to give me a bio so I could read it to everybody, and he wrote this. Tom Michaelman is just your average guy, no big credentials to run through. He's someone who knows a little bit about a lot of things, but is an expert in none. He's always learning and growing and trying to do the right thing to help everyone live a better life. But he's so modest. Tom is one of those folks that I mentioned that has helped make the Reason Center a possibility. He's been helping us with Free Thought Day since longer than I've been involved with Free Thought Day, way longer than that. And he's also been the Sacramento chapter of the Humanists, and someone that I'm very proud to call my friend. Ladies and gentlemen, Tom Eichelman.
Thanks, David. I'm very proud to call you my friend too, and we all have to thank David for doing everything that he does here in Sacramento. He took over Free Thought Day and has turned it into something that's 4 times bigger than anything else we ever had. So, and then, you know, he's getting this all going too. I'm impressed with what this guy has accomplished when he puts his mind to it. And so I wanted to go in a little bit about how I got in this community, and start out with letting you all know that I was raised Catholic, and my family was very religious, and so much so that we always sat in the front row, the front pew in the church, and it was very uncomfortable for me because I didn't really want to be there. And it was also uncomfortable because usually 2 or 3 pews behind us were empty, and the rest of the congregation was always sitting in the back of the church. You know, they didn't really want to be there either. I hope that this turns out to be so much fun for everybody here that you all want to be here and sit in the front row and fill the space. This is great to see so many people here today. I moved away from that religious upbringing, but I didn't have anywhere to go for such a long time. Is that better? Yeah. Now you can hear me better. Yeah. So it was a long learning process for me, but then one day I saw an article in the paper, it's still in the newspaper, about the Brights Network, if you guys are familiar with them at all. And are we getting a little feedback still? There's something there. I don't know.
You're too powerful.
Yeah. So, through the Brights, I found out about the local community, and then I went to my first Free Thought Day, and I listened to the speakers, and I realized that they were talking about all these things that I felt and knew, and I knew that I had found my people. And you know, hopefully you guys are finding your people here today too, through this organization and through all of the other organizations that are in Sacramento. We have a lot of organizations in Sacramento, and you can pick and choose which ones you want to, participate with. There's 17 of them on the Sacramento Coalition of Reason website. And I don't know if we're going to add Sunday Assembly to that or not, probably. So there's a lot of opportunities here. So I went to that first Free Thought Day, and after the event, I was so excited about it, I helped them clean up. And then I went to dinner with them. And the next thing I know, I'm on the committee. So that's how quickly it happened, and how much I felt at home with these people. So, and over the years, it's grown into more and more, and I'm participating in so many different things. I am the Reason Center representative here today. That's why I have a different tag on. If you have any questions about the facility, you can come ask me, and of course, we'll take donations to help support this place too, if you want to help us with that. And then I'm on the HAGSA board and help with the Free Thought Day, like David said. So all of this is going on in my life, and I'm keeping busy with everyone. But then 6 years ago, I was, just doing my normal daily things, and I went to a party at a friend's house, and I just didn't have the energy to participate in this party. And I was sitting on the sofa, and nobody was used to that. One of my friends said, "Tom, what's wrong with you?" And I was like, "I don't know. I don't feel good." And I had been feeling really well for a few days, and I knew I had to go find a doctor. And I didn't even have a regular doctor. I never went to a doctor. But I found one that, and this guy was great. He went to bat for me. Really, he knew how to work the system to get me help. And initially, he ran a bunch of tests, like they all do, and got some answers or some negatives. Negative is good, negative result, right? And eventually it had to run more tests to try and figure out what was wrong with me. We did some x-rays, and it came back for something suspicious. And then they sent me in for an ultrasound, and they gave me a form to go for the ultrasound, and it said on there, suspicious for a metastatic neoplasm. And I didn't know what that meant. And they gave it to me and sent me home and said, go tonight and get this done. So the first thing I did when I got home was I got on the internet. I had to figure out what this was they were, suspicious of me for. And looked it up, and it's basically cancer. And that was how I found out, was through a piece of paper. And it still gets to me when I think about that. It's a very tough time that you get this notice, that you're going to have a lot of difficulties. And I had probably half an hour or so that I sat there and I just, crashed down. And yeah, so
Divine intervention.
well, that's part of what my story is about, because as soon as I found that out, of course, I called my family to let them know that I had, a potential problem. And the first response out of my mother's mouth was, well, we'll pray for you. And that, will make you better than anything else that is available. And I'm thinking to myself, that's the last thing that I need to do. I need to go see the doctors. And so there was, they had a prayer tree going. She told me they had over 200 people praying for me. So we went through the process of trying to figure out what was wrong, what type of cancer it was. And the initial x-rays had shown that I had a big mass on my lungs. And so they were thinking it was lung cancer. And that's, not very survivable. It's like over 95% of people die within 6 months to a year, I think it was, something like that. That's a very difficult thing to be told. And I'm running out of time already. So we went through this whole process, and when they finally got a biopsy and found out it was lymphoma is much more survivable. And that was a reason for us to have a party. Because now I had a 40% chance of making it to a year, and a 16% chance of making it 5 years. The first oncologist said, you're going to feel better after the first treatment, and he was right. And this was 2 weeks after my parents had started praying for me. And so the answer to me was obvious, that the doctors and the science worked. The prayer didn't. 2 weeks of prayer, I just kept getting worse and worse. So I really appreciate what all these doctors and researchers are doing. And they gave me these odds. But one fellow down at Stanford, he told me that actually my odds were better because of the new treatments that were out there. Because they're constantly improving what's going on. And I was lucky. And now I'm at 6 years. 5 years, they consider you cured. And so I have a whole new appreciation for what it feels like to not have very much time, And I've been lucky to find Wendy in these groups, and we got married a couple years ago. To find these people that you share these feelings with, and become involved with all these groups and be active and improve our communities. And that's what's great about Sunday Assembly, is that it's about helping one another. After I had my problems, and I had friends that helped me out with research and stuff, and then I helped another friend out, Beverly Church. She was having a lot of problems, and unfortunately she left us. I don't even know the right word for it. She didn't pass away, because she didn't really go anywhere. She died, just died. But she was a powerhouse. She was the one running Free Thought Day for years. And, I took her to doctor's appointments for quite a long time. And that really helped her a lot. So if we can build this community here through Sunday Assembly or any of the other groups to help one another, first, and I know a lot of Sunday Assembly is about going out and helping other people too, but if we can get to know one another and help one another and
all get involved like that. So it's great to see everybody here today, and I appreciate everything that you all will do here in the near future, I'm sure. And support, these different groups, get active in them, and hopefully, we'll improve things. So, thanks.
And here to tell us all briefly how we can help folks like Tom who've suffered and hopefully get better. I'd like to introduce Heather Appleberry from Davis to talk a little bit about the Leukemia and Lymphoma Society, a group that we can all get behind and help out. She's going to tell us how.
Hello. Some of you may have heard of the Foundation Beyond Belief. They are an awesome secular organization. And a few years ago, they started helping out with leukemia and lymphoma. I would like to invite you to take part in helping in the Leukemia and Lymphoma Society. This November 1st is the Light the Night fundraiser. The Leukemia and Lymphoma Society brings families together in communities to honor blood cancer survivors as well as those lost to diseases, and to shine a light on the importance of fighting our team. The more people we have, the more visible we are at the event, and that's good for us. Donate money. We're trying to raise a lofty goal of $5,000 this year. We hope to exceed that. And I will be staying afterwards after the potluck and whatnot. So if anybody would like to join our team, it's free to sign up. There's no bare minimum of money you have to raise. You can just show up and walk even. It's a great thing to do, and it's a lot of fun actually. I've had fun doing it the last 3 years. So if anybody is interested in signing up and joining our team or just giving a donation, I will be here with my laptop later and can help people sign up.
$450 up to that other bar at $5,000. That's what we did last year. We were just, and because we were just short of that $5,000 goal, our Sacramento Area Coalition of Reason was the 4th place team out of all of the Sacramento organizations, out of churches, out of corporations, out of personal groups. And I think that's pretty awesome to see our group do that. I want to do that again. I want to blow it out of the water. And so please stick around during the potluck. Go talk to Michelle, and she'll tell you how you can sign up for that, or you can just go to that website down there. And so today, as you can tell by the slide behind me, we're going to talk about helping often. And when I got down with the rest of the folks to try and figure out what our launch event was going to be like, immediately when I thought about helping often, Michelle came to mind. Because she has dedicated so much of her time over the last year, how long was that thing? About a year, right? Almost a year. See, she's a UC Davis student. You're almost done, I hope. And she decided to join this thing called Pathfinders, the Pathfinders Project. Pathfinders is sponsored by the Foundation Beyond Belief. It's a year-long international service trip, and they support clean water, education, human rights all across the globe. And so she's decided to be a part of that, and she just completed her trip, so to speak. And so I'd like to introduce up onto the stage, let's all give her a welcome and some applause, Michelle Reed. Let's all hear how she is helping.
Hi. I grew up Buddhist, so this is totally different than people like chanting and kneeling and stuff. So Yeah, so the idea of the Pathfinders project is their Foundation Beyond Belief wanted to establish a international service corps. And so they need people to go explore and like try out all these potential partner organizations for the Humanist Service Corps. And needed people to test them out and volunteer there, and it sounded like a cool idea, and so I dropped out of school to go travel. Alright, so this was our first stop, and this was in Cambodia. We worked with the Bridge of Life School, and we helped teach English there. I'm there, well, me, and then in the middle is Wendy, and over there is Connor. Connor was the guy who started the whole thing. And then missing from this picture is Ben. And then these were some of our students. And this was held at a Buddhist monk temple, which is really cool. Yeah, so here's some of the kids. We were teaching them English. And we would hang out on the beach and stuff. And then we spent a week at a floating village, that's what the stilts are for, and that was a fun experience. One of my favorite stories from there is we were drinking this alcohol that they made out of coconuts there, and all of us were in a circle. It was me and Wendy, the two women, and all these other men from the village. And then on the other side of the room were all these women who were quiet and like watching us like, what? People are drinking with the men? Like women? It was weird being watched like that. Okay, and then the next place we went to was Uganda for the Kasese Humanist Primary School. And this was founded by this guy named Robert, who's very, very, very atheist, and he's this amazing visionary. And so he created a primary school, and he wants to create it all the way up to secondary school, and he has all these ideas of how to increase tourism to his area and host these debates with other schools so they can debate like science topics. And then we held a humanism class where and in this picture we were trying to teach the kids how to work as a team and like count each other off, but then they all cheated by sitting in a row. Next we went to Mustard Seed Secondary School, and we taught them how to use a scientific process to debunk a bunch of myths. So here we're debunking the myth of like dowsing rocks, or where people try to find water. And we helped plant trees there. Okay, so this is another favorite story of mine. So this is called Marua, and it's this stuff that looks like it looked like a bucket of shit. It was, and so the idea is that everyone shares this bucket, and it's like a community. And then you take these like 6-foot-long straws and you stick them in and you drink out of the bucket, and it comes in this like powder, and then you add hot water to it, and it's alcoholic. And that was we tried to try the local alcohol in each place, and this was by far my favorite one. But this was another instance where it was very weird for women to be drinking. And this is the Nile River. This guy, Jimmy, he found us. He found us a local guy to take us around on a boat, so it was like significantly cheaper. But and then he goes, "Oh, do you want to go bungee jumping?" And I was like, "Bungee jumping? That sounds kind of scary." And then he ended up taking us to a rope swing. And so, I got to rope swing into the Nile River. It was really cool. So this was also in Uganda, and we taught. I taught computers there because they have like a big computer exam coming up soon, and we they didn't have a CD drive, and they needed it for one of their, to take one of their tests to record their answers and stuff. And there's a whole story of us going, I mean, I could tell afterwards, but of us going to like the nearby town and almost getting kidnapped on the way back. This is an orphanage we went to. We didn't do any service here specifically, but we just hung out for the day because we met a couple there, and Ben is showing them his iPad, and the kids are all like touching it. It's so cute. All right, so next I don't have many pictures from this area, but we went to Alliance for African Women Initiative, where we tried to get a bunch of grants to help fund their children's program, and then and we did like a bunch of things related to like menstrual health. So afterwards, we went to northern Ghana to Kakul Witch Camp, and this was I think keep it on the down low, but I think this is where we're establishing the service for. But these women were often like some of the most successful women in their communities. And then suddenly someone accused them of witchcraft, said that they were seeing them in their dreams. And there's like a whole bunch of other things you can accuse them of. This woman was not accused of being a witch, but her grandmother was. And so, her mother or grandmother was, and so she was sent to take care of her grandmother there. But then since she was there, people thought that she was learning witchcraft from her grandmother, so she can't return back to her community. And so what Kakul Witch Camps for Alleged Witches try to do is reintroduce people back into a community that will take them. Since very few communities will take women after they've been accused of witchcraft. And so she was one of the few women who was reintroduced into a new community. And so she's sitting there, and she goes, I had to go through all of these like hardships, but it's worth it because I came out and she like showed us the field behind her, and she's like, yeah, now it's like heaven for me. Next we went to the Dominican Republic and into Haiti, where we crossed the border illegally. All right, and here we are riding on a truck, and we went up this mountain, and we thought we were abandoned, and then we had to like hike another 6 hours to get to our place, but it was fun. And so here, our work, we decided to build latrines there because cholera was getting into the water after a bunch of workers came in after the big earthquake, and they brought a bunch of diseases that infected the water stream, and so we tried to build toilets. And then the next place we went to was Ecuador, where we built a water purification center because the resident. We built a water purification center because there wasn't really one on the island that we were on. And I believe that's it.
And I think it's so neat that we hear about people doing these kinds of trips, these service work jobs and volunteer opportunities overseas and all kinds of different interesting places. But how cool is it that we know someone from UC Davis, who's part of our group, that's done that? I think it's really awesome. So thank you for doing that work. All right, we have heard a number of stories just in the last hour. We've heard Tom and Michelle both talk about some of their experiences. What we want to do for the next 2 minutes is just make sure everything's quiet, everything's silenced, all of our stuff is turned off, and just think, just reflect. I want you to think now for the next 120 seconds. What are you doing to do your best and to help often and to wonder more and to live better? Go ahead. All right, 2 minutes is a really long time when it's just you and your thoughts and the wonderful people on the other side of that wall who are clearly living better, because it sounds like they're lifting weights over there. It's certainly a healthy thing to do. So, as we round up our afternoon, our morning, we're going to do two things simultaneously. We're going to do a little bit of an icebreaker. Nothing weird or unusual. Nothing. We're not going to build a tall tower out of straws or anything like that. I'm not going to ask anybody to go out of their comfort zone. But what we are going to do is just ask you in just a minute to stand up and meet a couple people that are sitting next to you. And I'll tell you when to do that, just to say hello to a new person. But while we're doing that, we do need to ask your support to continue Sunday Assembly. And I know we all have this stigma about passing the hat and all that kind of stuff, or passing the plate around. And so to help you understand a little bit about how the finances work at Sunday Assembly, we do have expenses. Thankfully, because of the Reason Center, our rent here for the room is about $120. Not a bad price, so thank you for helping us do that. But we do have supplies, the dishes, and the coffee, and all that kind of stuff. We have ads and marketing that we kind of did, and printed out the little buttons and the bumper stickers and all that kind of stuff. And so, there are some expenses. I'm not asking you guys to give billions of dollars so that all of us can claim some tax exemption and parsonage and all that kind of stuff to support us. In fact, everybody who's working on Sunday Assembly, myself included, we're just volunteers. We're not taking anything out of this. Every single dollar that we get is not only put right back into the Assembly to make us a bigger, better place, but it's also going to be fully disclosed on our website, every income and every expense that we get. So we're going to pass some hats around while you guys are doing the icebreakers. If you have $1 or $2, great, $5, whatever. I don't want you guys to go broke giving us money. If you're in a bad situation, just pass the hat on to somebody else. This is not anything like that. We're not going to come after you for tithing, but just stand up, get up on your feet, pass that hat around, and take a couple minutes to say hello to the people next to you. Thanks.
Hi, how you doing? Yeah, I'm Paul. Hi.